Hello, it's Mac here, and today I'm talking about whether adversary modes and these sort of small content updates to GTA Online, if they take away from the development of other bigger DLCs and bigger content in GTA Online. And this has been something I've seen over the past couple weeks with the release of Lost vs. Damned and the Halloween content, as well as the release of the new adversary mode Deadline in GTA Online. And this has been a notion in the community ever since adversary modes pretty much came out, or whenever Rockstar started adding in more and more adversary modes. And it's been something that people have been discussing, and I want to talk about it in this video. So over the past couple weeks, we have seen a number of new adversary modes in GTA Online, and we've seen that for the past couple years actually. Pretty much every couple weeks or months or so, we get a new adversary mode, and then they'll start to add new maps and update those adversary modes. And honestly, in my opinion, it's a lot of fun. I love new adversary modes because they get me back into the game. There's usually a double money and RP involved in them, and they do change up the game quite a bit, and I do like that. But on the other end, I see a lot of people say, no, adversary modes suck, we don't need them in the game. We need heists, or we need new contact missions, or something else, and we need new DLCs and stuff. And while yes, I would like to see new heists or new contact missions, I don't think that adversary modes necessarily take away much development time from heists or what Rockstar's doing with future DLCs and stuff. Now, I'm not a game developer, and I never claimed to be. I'm just somebody who plays GTA. I love the game, and I just observe and want to talk about it. And I don't think that creating a new adversary mode takes that much time. Maybe I'm wrong. Really, a new adversary mode is not on the same level as a fully fledged heist with 5 different setups, and then the finale, and voice acting, and you have to do a lot of scripting, and you also have to do a lot of testing with those heists. And then just overall, it's going to be a lot more work than something like an adversary mode like Deadline. Now, I'm not saying it's an easy task. I'm not saying you could do it in like an hour, but at the same time, it's probably much easier to create a new adversary mode like Lost vs. Damned, like Deadline, like Power Play, or like Slipstream, than a new heist. Or sometimes maybe a contact mission would be about the same. If they wanted to do one new contact mission. And Rockstar has said in the past that heists were a huge undertaking and that they may not do any in the future. And I kind of agree with them on that. And also, maybe this is just me, but I find adversary modes a lot more entertaining, and I play adversary modes much more than, new contact missions or heists or something like that. The heist update came out about a year and a half ago, right? And after a year or so, I pretty much stopped playing heists. This year, 2016, I haven't played many heists in GTA Online. And, I think the last time I was really doing heists was whenever they were double money, back like over a year ago. And I'll do a heist every now and again, but really, I don't do them much anymore. And the only incentive to actually do a heist, in my opinion, is money. That's the only incentive. And they do give you quite good money, but the actual enjoyment level of them is very, very low for me. Maybe whenever you're playing with friends, sure, they can be a bit of fun. But that's true for anything in GTA. You could just be driving around, and if you're with friends, and if you're doing it with friends, you're probably going to have a good time. Heists, I feel like, especially with randoms, you're just going through the motions, and that's it. And, I've already done them so many times that it's just, this isn't new, this isn't fresh. And that's my problem with heists and contact missions. Heists are a little bit better, in my opinion, because heists, there are different ways to play them. And you can do Humane Labs 3 different ways. You can do, some different setups different ways. And that is kind of nice, but at the same time, not every single setup is like that. Not every single heist is like that. And, there's usually about 2, maybe 3 different ways to play it. But with an adversary mode, I can play an adversary mode for a lot more times. Usually whenever they add them in, there's anywhere from 3 to 6 maps, which is quite nice. It's nice to play those new maps. And then there's a lot more enjoyment because it's actually more difficult. That's one other problem I have with missions and heists in GTA Online, is the AI is not that great. Let's be real here. The AI in GTA is not that smart. It's not that great. It's not that challenging most of the time. And with missions and heists, there's so many ways you can just do it so easily, whether you have a Kuruma, or, whenever you're on a mission, you could just get a Savage or a Hydra, or, an insurgent, or, all these different ways to cheese these missions pretty much. It just makes them so easy, and there's not much challenge. Whereas in adversary mode, I find more challenge in them. Actually battling other players. And it's not just adversary mode. It's races. It's, death matches, LTSs, stuff like that. These are more entertaining because they're actually challenging. Going up against another player, especially if you're at an equal, skill level. And let's say you're doing a death match and it's neck and neck. And those are so much more enjoyable than doing a mission in a Kuruma. But I feel like the problem with adversary modes, and this is why I feel like a lot of people are getting annoyed with them and they're getting fed up with them, is that it feels like Rockstar takes a more quantity over quality approach with adversary modes. I went through into GT Online and I counted all the new adversary modes in GT Online. These are all the unique adversary modes that we've seen in GT Online ever since the Heist update. In a little over a year and a half of, the Heist update coming out and adversary modes existing in GT Online, we've seen 25 total adversary modes. And I feel like, a lot of people, only half of those they actually like. Now, personally, I think I like most adversary modes. I can play most, but there are those few that I don't like, and I don't like playing. And, there are those adversary modes that nobody else seems to like playing. I can't tell you the last time I went and played something like Every Bullet Counts, because after it came out, after a few months, nobody played it, and there was a few reasons for it. One, in my opinion, it's not that great of an adversary mode. You may disagree, you may love Every Bullet Counts, but to me, I hated the adversary mode. And in two, there's no new maps. I think there's still only 3 maps for Every Bullet Counts, and they never added new maps. They just had these 3 maps that are very small, and the game mode just kind of died. And that's the problem that they have. I feel like they put out all these new adversary modes, like every single month they put out a new adversary mode. Sometimes they'll put out multiple adversary modes in the same DLC, and then they just die out. Whether it's because the game mode just wasn't that good, it wasn't that enjoyable, it wasn't that balanced, or they're just, it died off because there wasn't enough replay value. And I feel like that's the problem. They never go back and, they never go back and redo some of these adversary modes or add new maps. And since there's no creator for these maps, you're stuck playing the same couple maps with each adversary mode. Personally, some of my favorite adversary modes, I don't even play anymore because the maps are, we've already seen all the maps. Even if there's 6 maps, that's only about 6 times you can play the game and have fresh experiences. And I feel like that's the problem that a lot of people have. Sure, some people, they just don't even like PvP in GTA. They only like, killing AI and doing heists and doing missions and stuff like that. And that is where some of the anger and frustration comes from. But on the other end, I feel like a lot of people are just fed up with Rockstar not going and supporting these adversary modes after a couple weeks. It seems like even with, Deadline, we're not sure if there's going to be more maps for Deadline. There's already 6. And we're not going to be sure how long Deadline's going to be a popular game mode. A lot of people love it right now, but in the future, will there be new maps? Will there be new experiences that you can have in this adversary mode? And that's the case for all the adversary modes in the past. I can already see, adversary modes that came out just a few weeks ago, like Slipstream. I don't see anybody talking about it anymore. How many people go back and play something like Trade in Places from Finance and Felony? Did you even know that Trade in Places was an adversary mode? I feel like that's the problem. And I feel like Rockstar needs to, maybe take a step back and go, is this adversary mode that we're about to release even good? And if it is, and people love it, try and support it a little bit more. Now, I don't think that they can create new maps without updating the game, but let's say the next update, they release some new maps for Deadline, or even if they release a few new maps for something way back that came out like a year ago, like something like Slasher or Extraction or something like that, I would go back and play them. Or just release a new adversary mode creator, maybe Rockstar, I don't know. But anyways, I just wanted to make this video because I want to give my 2 cents on this topic. And overall, I don't feel like Rockstar adding in new adversary modes, and I don't feel like that takes away from Rockstar's ability to add new missions or new heists and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on this? Would you rather have more heists and more, contact missions, or would you rather have new adversary modes? And what are your thoughts on Rockstar releasing so many? Do you want them to go back and maybe release new maps or, update the old adversary modes? Because we have so many in GT Online already. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hope you enjoy feedback. So, I'll see you guys in the next video.